What the heck is a poltergeist? Find out how I define it right now on What the Fetch. Hey weirdos, I'm Grant. This is the third video in a series where I define the 4 categories I use to classify hauntings. For the first video, click here. Traditionally, poltergeist comes from the German words meaning noisy spirit. You may be familiar with the movie Poltergeist, where people get sucked into TVs or eaten by trees, and you go to the light, or no, you run away from the light. None of that really tells us what a poltergeist is. I use the term poltergeist to define any haunting that is caused by a living human being. Yeah, I know it's weird, but that's why you came here, right? Here are a few examples. I've had several cases where people were being visited by the ghost of someone who was still alive. How is this possible? Sometimes the person was alive and well with absolutely nothing wrong in their lives. And sometimes they were in a traumatic event, such as an accident, or an abusive situation, or about to pass away. In each and every situation though, the living person had no idea they just sent a ghost to the client. That being said, other people have supposedly intentionally left their body to visit another person or place via out-of-body experiences or astral projection. But usually in this situation, the person being visited has no knowledge that they've been visited at all. Some people even claim to be able to leave their body and visit spirits in the spirit realm to help them on their own turf, so to speak. If I could enter the spirit realm and visit entities on their turf, now that would be awesome. But that's another video for another time. The next type is much more common. Whenever I ask a female client when she had the most intense paranormal activity in her life, it's almost always between the ages of 9 and 13. Why is that? Well, there are countless cases of prepubescent girls or menopausal women creating paranormal-like activity in their homes without even knowing they're doing it. They will subconsciously cause objects to move on their own. They become terrified, not knowing that they are the ones causing the activity. Unbelievable, right? Go girl power. But there is some science behind it. We once measured the brain activity of a menopausal woman who was in this situation. And right before any object moved in her home, there was a spike in brain activity. In fact, there's been articles written on this in several science magazines. But I'll go more into this in another video. That's weird, right? It's about to get weirder. Ever heard of a Tulpa? A Tulpa is supposedly an entity that is created entirely in your mind. It's not just another thought process. It supposedly has its own free will, its own emotions, its own memories. Basically, another sentient being living independently inside your own mind. Now this is separate from multiple personality disorder because you do not assume this other personality. It is independent of your own. Some people claim that they've even been able to hallucinate this thing into existence, only for them, not for other people. It sounds like it could be sinister, but most of the time, in fact almost all the time, it's not. It's all in how you decide to create it. God, this is weird. Maybe it's easier to wrap your head around this if you think of an imaginary friend. A tulpa could be one explanation for an imaginary friend. Tulpas are usually intentionally created, but sometimes they're not. And those people might think they're schizophrenic, psychic, or even possessed. On the flip side, they can be very therapeutic for people who are often alone or people who have been through traumatic experiences that no one else seems to understand. Now these are claims from other people. I personally don't have a tulpa, nor have I ever created one. I don't think there's enough room in here for one. And then there are thought forms. Thought forms are a little odd, but they're not hard to grasp. Imagine creating a small, temporary entity in your mind, assigning it a task, and sending it on its way. Now where a tulpa was supposedly a completely separate, independent entity, a thought form is more like a mental robot that you can program to do certain things for you. I don't know, stay with me here. Now usually people generate a positive, healing, loving thought form, and they send it to people in need. Now supposedly you can make negative ones too, but they don't work as well. Now, before you think I'm nuts, some people refer to these negative ones as curses. Maybe that helps you wrap your brain around it? Okay, so now that we've gone over a few types of poltergeist-style hauntings, what do we do about it? In the case of a poltergeist, a solution usually comes in the form of education, comfort, and patience. Because of the seemingly random behavior, poltergeists are inherently hard to understand. Therefore, people almost always jump to them being evil or demonic. Again, religious provocation will not work in these situations because they're being caused by free will creatures, humans. Helping people wrap their head around what is really going on is key. Finding the source and understanding that source is integral to moving past a poltergeist. Okay, whoa, got through that. Now that you know a little bit more about poltergeist, has your view on a past haunting changed in any way? Comment below and let me know. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Stay weird.